From the top.
Yeah. Hey everyone, this is Aaron Fink from Grapple City Rewind. If you like what you hear on this episode, give us a follow, leave us a review, cut a promo on us by calling 626-657-SLAM. Anything goes. It'll go a long way in helping us to be discovered by more wrestling fans like you. All right, cue that music.
Hello, and welcome to Grapple City Rewind, a wrestling nostalgia podcast taking you all the way back to the iconic pay-per-views and television specials that shaped the sport. Today, in our 20th episode, we are taking you all the way back to January 23rd, 2000, the year 2000, for Royal Rumble 2000 at Madison Square Garden. But before we get into all the thumbtacks, barbed wire, and bare-breasted 77-year-old women, I'm Bradley Palermo, as always, with Aaron Fink. And Aaron, there's been a lot of fucking wrestling going on since you and I have last spoke. Maybe we should touch on a little bit of current product. I don't even know where to begin, though. What say you?
Yeah, man, so much. Let's see. We had Wrestlepalooza, WWE's first ever premium live event. I guess it's not even a PLE anymore. It's like a pay-per-view on ESPN. We had All Out the same night. Yesterday we had NXT No Mercy. There's been a lot of stuff going on. I guess we could start with WrestlePalooza, and the headline for me is it was a stinker for the most part.
It was indeed. I know we were talking before the show. I was pretty disappointed in it myself. I feel like WWE is kind of, they need to like correct a little bit. They need to like rein it in. I know it didn't suck just because of these things, but for me, it's like Triple H has me in a board meeting talking about all the money and all the power he's getting. And there's just
how groundbreaking everything is.
Everything's so groundbreaking. Yeah. And there's logos on every inch of everything. And the video package before it started, they were talking about like, we're fake, they're real, we're so fucking not real, and that's still cool. I mean, the effect was like, beyond breaking kayfabe. It was just kind of like, they're always talking about how their shit is scripted.
Sports has always been entertainment. I'm like, okay, yeah, thank you, Captain Obvious.
Dude, it's so like, I don't know. They're kind of bumming me out. I feel like constant ads, even on these things you pay for, are obnoxious, and a lot of them are for ads for like Saudi Arabia and shit. And
I really want to go to Riyadh for Riyadh season. That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, what the fuck is that? And I don't care. So I was way more into, hold on. Stephanie Vacker and what's her name? Io Sky, of course, put on a great match. But
yes.
The rest of it, I couldn't give a shit. Even the world champion versus Drew McIntyre, who gives a fuck? I heard guys calling in to Busted Open from the show, and they were like, it was cool, but like there was that Cody Rhodes came on after it was all over. But like, what are you talking about? You should be excited. And the guy's like,
don't tell me how to be.
I was just, I'm tired or whatever.
Yeah, so don't tell me what to do, Cody.
Yeah, I was like, no, I mean, the WWE thing wasn't that good, but I thought that AEW's All Out was good if you had the benefit of watching it after it occurred, so you could fast forward through the things you didn't want to see, which is what I did, and I saw all the things I did want to see, and it was great. I didn't have to watch the Hurt Business do anything, and I didn't. But
they hurt people, Brad. They hurt people.
Yeah,
people. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, Cena versus Brock was okay. I'd probably give it like a C. I had a sneaking suspicion that it was going to be the squash match that it was, but the internet certainly didn't like it. Funny thing, ESPN reviewed Wrestlepalooza. ESPN, the company that is putting out WWE pay-per-views, and they gave it a C. I thought that was really funny. It's like, damn, y'all are cold as fuck.
At least they're fair and honest. Yeah.
Yes, that's true. And like you said, Stephanie Vaquera versus Io Sky for the Women's World Championship was terrific. I enjoyed Punk and AJ versus Seth and Becky, but I think that's just because I enjoyed the build up to it. The match itself was fine, like a B maybe, nothing out of the ordinary.
I would have been better. It'll be better when it's not a mixed tag, which to me, I personally mixed tags are never great in WWE, but at least we can set that up for something in the future. They have the confidence of like, oh, everything we do is just all A's. We always win.
They didn't even sell out the place. I don't know if you noticed, but when they don't sell out the place, they're like, you are looking at a jam-packed blah-blah-blah arena as opposed to a sold-out arena. Yeah.
Capacity crowd.
You're right. All Out was just the more exciting show. I mean, granted, it was like 4.5 hours, so the chances of it being better, like having enough stuff that you could say made it better than Wrestlepalooza is pretty high. But Copeland and Christian versus FTR I thought was pretty good.
Yeah, it was cool.
The main event, Kyle Fletcher versus Hangman Adam Page was pretty good. There were a lot of good. Oh, the women's 4-way match with the surprise Kris Statlander win, dethroning Toni Storm. That was pretty great.
Dude, shocking. When they posted that was the lineup, I thought there was no way in hell Kris would win.
Yeah.
And I commented, which I now realize that a lot of people commented the same thing, but I just commented on their Instagram post, like, put it on Kris. And over anything else I posted like that week, 3 weeks ago, that thing was just showing up in my feed over and over. I was like, holy shit, a lot of people are with me on this. And then I looked at the comments and it's just like, Kris deserves it. Kris deserves it. It's Kris's time. Mm-hmm. The fans were like, not just me, all of us fans were like, probably if we were doing it there everywhere else too, all for Kris. And I never thought it would happen because they have like, that spider chick and she's double jointed, and then they have Toni, and of course, everyone loves to hate her. Yeah. And I was like, oh, well, so there's probably something else. Like Kris has always been kind of a relic of, a few years ago for a while. I feel like she now
was one of the originals almost, maybe not original, but she was there really early. I mean, even the crowd when it happened was like, what? In a good way.
I have to thank AEW because they don't always do it, but they did it this time. They gave us fans what we wanted. And I was like, holy shit, we wanted this. Like, what are you going to do now? Because like, I didn't really think it would happen. Like now I'm excited about a Kris Statlander run. And that was my favorite moment. I mean, it was all about Kris in AEW for me. It was all about Stephanie in WWE that week for me. Yeah. So a great weekend for women's wrestling, even though there's a lot of bullshit in between.
For sure. I will say I also enjoyed the MJF Mark Briscoe thumbtack tables and thumbtacks match. That shit was insane. That was the most thumbtacks I've ever seen in a ring.
We'll be back after a quick break.
And this episode has been brought to you by Weber for Law, your tag team partner when life body slams you out of nowhere. If you've been injured in an accident, motorcycle, car, dog bite, slip and fall, or even if you've been hit in the head with a flying steel chair, these are the guys to call. They've got knockout reviews on Google, a killer track record, and they always fight for the win. I can testify to that personally. Weber for Law took care of me, and they will take care of you too. Don't wait. Visit weberforlaw.com. That's WEBER, the number 4, law.com. Or call 818-502-9200. That's 818-502-9200. Weber for Law, your tag team partner when life body slams you out of nowhere.
Yeah, I think it was cool to see MJF, who's obviously a really talented worker, as we say in Mark speak, do something that was different, right? Because his thing is like, I don't have to get messy. I don't have to get dirty. I I can do some crazy flippity dippity shit, but you know, I'm going to do that few and far between. When I'm champion, you know, I'm going to do my talking.
Yeah.
I'm really good at talking. You don't really see him as like a deathmatch guy. And at first, you know, he's dancing around like, I don't want to do this. I'm not going to do that. But then he got fucking dirty, man.
Yeah, he has a lot of versatility, and he doesn't show it often, but when he does, it's always impressive. You know, I think back to his dog collar match with Punk. That was great.
Right.
His Iron Man match with Danielson. That was great. Like, he can do it all. And I'm happy for him. I think he's one of the best out there. And yeah, super impressed. Never seen that many thumbtacks before. Shit was crazy.
I listened to Jim Cornette this week, and it's interesting because I mean, I know that guy's like an old crabby like traditionalist, and you know, I love him and everything.
He probably
but,
hated that match, didn't
well,
he?
he hated that match. He thought that match was trash, and that MJF doesn't need to be doing this indie garbage shit, which I totally disagree with. I think that I put this more on the level of like Mick Foley, like you're using psychology, you're using those scary things to like be like, oh my God, is it going to happen?
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit, it happened. Not just like, hey, look, you know, like sweaty fat guy bleeds. It's like
that match had psychology for sure.
It did. And then, so he was like poo-pooing that. And then he also didn't even watch the Stephanie Io Sky match, which was like the best match.
Whatever. Yeah, he's stupid sometimes.
Because why would I watch two girls who don't have a feud, you know, who don't even hold a title? He skipped it. Like, he protested it. And I was like, dude, Jim Cornette is becoming... Even though I'm a big fan, you know, I'm part of his, you know, podcast following, the cult of Cornette. But man, he's kind of a bitch. Like, he's becoming.
He is. No, he is very smart, very, very smart. Knows a ton about wrestling history, and no one can take that away from him. He's got good ideas too, but he's too close-minded about certain things, like women's matches. He thinks that women's matches shouldn't have equal time to the men, which honestly I think is pretty sexist. Even if they're not as good, it doesn't really matter. There shouldn't be a distinction between the two, as we've said before. Everyone should get a seat at the wrestling table. So, you know, I listen to him too from time to time. I used to be a more avid listener, and then I just got tired of him bitching. And you know, he doesn't know me from Adam, and I'm a skinny white mark, so what does he care what I think? But, you know, you got to give people a chance. It's fine to have opinions. We have opinions, but to just poo-poo something without even watching it, I think is not cool.
He said that Stephanie and Io shouldn't even have been on the card because there was already women in a match that was a main event that everyone was there for. So because there was a mixed tag match featuring, you know, big stars like AJ and Becky, that Stephanie and Io shouldn't even been on there. I was like, dude, you're fucking nuts, because these girls now are not, like, he calls them girls matches, but these women now, they are just as good as the dudes. Like, we'll talk
Those
later
two in particular
in our rewind. We'll talk about how they treated women, you know, in Jim Cornette's day, where they don't do anything and they just literally bend over and walk away, like, without fighting. And these girls, they're totally sexy. Sure, fine. You get just as much of that if that's what you want. Hell, you get more of it because there's more time on screen. But you actually get a competitiveness that you see in the men, at least better or on par with the men.
Yeah.
And it just fucking blows my mind that anyone would be like, I don't want to see this because they're women. Because, I mean,
just close-minded 60-plus-year-old man nonsense. But, you know,
speaking of other, I know we're going long on the
that's fine
on the preface here, but speaking of crabby old men, I love Bret the Hitman Hart, the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. And, you know, he's obviously rightfully so bitter because his career ended early and some of the booking didn't go in his favor. But did you hear what he had to say about Triple H?
Yeah, you talking about how somebody was like, "Oh, we saw, you know, at WrestleMania, you looked like you were rolling your eyes at Triple H when he shook your hand, and didn't he say like, oh, you guys saw that?" or something? Yeah, that shit was great.
On
Inside the Ropes, is that what it was?
Oh yeah, this is from Inside the Ropes in mid-September. His interview, he sat down with Inside the Ropes somewhere. It was between September 15th and 17th. It was a few days, so I'm not sure which day this was, but I have their clip. Hold on.
I'm not sure where I stand with Triple H. Just being honest, I never rated him. Everything he's done, everything he's created. It's all stuff that he wrote out for himself. I wish I could have sat back in 1992 and said, well, this is what I'm going to do for the next 10 years. I'm going to win every title and I'm going to be champion 55 times. Or 500 times. I think Triple H is a phony, like in the sense that he never earned it. He never deserved it. He just married the boss's daughter. Let me just say this. I wish he'd been in the dressing room when I knocked Vince out. I wish that it had happened. I wish he was in the dressing room because he might not be married to Stephanie anymore. Or, it might not have ever happened. There was so much anger, and Triple H was such a slime ball back in 1997. He was a guy that I had very little respect for and never really rated him. I don't know. You guys tell me. There's not one match that I ever watched of Triple H's with anybody that I ever thought was like, oh, that's a great match. I never ever wanted to wrestle him. I always look at every wrestler and go, I could do this with that guy, and I could do this with that guy. But with Triple H, it was always like just a match. Nothing special ever came to my mind.
It's funny because he starts off like, I never had anything against Triple H and I ever rated him. He's a piece of shit. It's got no talent. Fuck the dog. I think you did. I think you did rate him.
I kind of disagree. I mean, well, we'll talk about it in the rewind. Like the match he had at this pay-per-view, I thought was pretty good. Not that it was like a technical spectacle or anything, but yeah, he had his good qualities. Pretty funny though.
I know it's hilarious. I mean, I don't like the modern Triple H because, like I said, he makes me feel like I'm in a board meeting or something. He doesn't make me like pumped for the show. It makes me feel like
he's an executive now.
Yeah, he seems like he's real proud of himself, and like you're up there during the show, bro. So give me a show. And I don't know. He seems like a suit, like just kind of a bitch. Like I don't know. I'm a blue collar guy. Like I've been raised to be like I don't want to talk to the suits. I'm not a corporate.
You're a man of the people.
I don't have bosses, no one tells me what to do, so fuck the fucking, fuck the man. In this case, Triple H kind of comes out like a heel. And I heard earlier, back to Cornette, he was talking about how back in the day, you never come out and say like, I've brought you the biggest houses, I've done this, I've done that, unless you're a heel. Mm-hmm. Like, because people don't want to think about how much they paid. And I don't want to think about how much I paid when I paid way too much money and Triple H comes out and brags about it right in front of me. That's a heel move. So to me, Triple H is a heel in modern times.
He always was a heel pretty much. So yeah, it makes sense.
He doesn't know he is right now. I don't think, but...
And now it's time for the rewind.
Okay, so we're here to talk about the Royal Rumble 2000. Over 19,000 people in attendance at Madison Square Garden. We had good old JR, Jim Ross, and Jerry the King Lawler on commentary. Just for a little bit of historical context, WCW is still around. They are still the competition, but by this point, WWF has retaken the top spot in the ratings. Stone Cold Steve Austin is out with a broken neck that he's recovering from, I believe from a pile driver gone wrong given to him by Owen Hart. So this is the era of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And first match of the evening was Kurt Angle coming out, getting booed and doing his normal Kurt Angle thing. I'm the best. I'm at the pinnacle of excellence, or whatever he says, and whoever my mystery opponent is, just come out here and do your best. And before the mystery opponent reveals themselves, it's already kind of clear if you listen to the crowd who they wanted to be. Everyone's chanting for Taz because they are, as we said, in Madison Square Garden. They're in Brooklyn. Taz is from New York. ECW is basically defunct at this point. So after a few seconds, we get the heart monitor beeping. Taz's signature beginning to his entrance music, and there he is, and the crowd went wild for Taz. And this is also, I don't know if you noticed this, Brad, but this is where Botchamania, they always do their like funny Taz, commentary thing, and they always play this little clip where JR's like, "It's Taz!" and it's like the little Oompa Loompa walking out on the Botchamania video. Anyway.
That's funny. I saw this is Taz's WWF debut. Yeah,
it is. Yeah. And I love this match, particularly because of the crowd and how excited they are for Taz's debut. It's obviously very short and sweet. I think it was like 5-7 minutes, but I consider it to be one of the best opening matches for a Royal Rumble pay-per-view. There is one large screw up right in the middle of the match where Taz has Kurt Angle and he's trying to give him a German suplex. And I guess maybe they timed it wrong and Kurt kind of like jumps up for the suplex, but Taz wasn't ready. So it just looks like he's like, doing a weird like twitch thing. And then they stop, they regain their composure. And then the suplex goes off without a hitch. And Kurt Angle actually does a full flip and lands on his stomach. But yeah, it's really fun. Taz chokes out Angle. It's Angle's first loss in the WWF. And after the match, they kind of play up that like Angle was choked out with a chokehold. It was an illegal move and he's passed out in the ring. They bring out a stretcher, I guess to make Taz seem dangerous. But yeah, fun opening match. What did you think?
Do you see a lot of parallels between the way that they present, and not just the Olympian gold medal, but the way they present Chad Gable and Kurt Angle? It seems like they're kind of the way that they do Chad Gable these days. It's so similar to how they presented Kurt Angle. It's like, yeah, you're an Olympian, but kind of a jackass, and we don't like you. You know,
yeah, they definitely sort of fell back on that. I mean, Chad Gable's been through a lot of different incarnations. When he was in NXT, he was in a tag team called American Alpha, and there really wasn't any like Kurt Angle in that. But once he moved over to the main roster, they definitely toyed with the idea. Then they had that awful period of time where they called him Shorty G. I don't know if you were watching at that point.
I remember some of that. Yeah,
that shit was terrible. But yeah, they have tended to do that, especially with his new stable, American Made, I think is what they're called. They even their music is even similar to Kurt Angle's in a way where the crowd can chant "You suck" like they did for Angle. So that's probably why they definitely draw parallels for sure.
So that was a 3-minute and 16-second squash
3
match.
minutes? Okay, I thought it was longer than that.
Yeah, I mean, it was basically all like
Taz, destroying him. Yeah,
suplexes. Yeah, of course, Taz. But for 3 minutes, I mean, I liked it too. I thought it was a hot way to start it off.
Yeah,
fast and energetic. Taz looked fucking great. I wasn't thinking of him as like the commentator. Like he did look scary. The Meltzer rating, which I've decided to just include on these now as part of the match, like anything else, was do you want to guess?
Sure. 3.
You got it.
Nice.
It was a 3. You and the Wrestling Observer have a future maybe together.
No, I liked it more than that. It was, to me, I'd probably give it like a 4, as far as squash matches go. But
you got it right. So for the second match, we get into the very first. This is okay. So first match, first Taz match, WWF. Second match, first tag tables match of the WWF, which is the Hardy Boyz versus the Dudley Boyz, fitting for a tables tag match. In this match, you have to put both guys through a table at some point during the match. So
consecutively is what they said.
Right.
Yeah, I actually liked that they explained that. If the rules felt very clear.
Yes.
I did enjoy Bubba coming out and doing his normal heel thing where he just insults the crowd. Did you catch like who he was talking about? He was like, my favorite person is John Rocker. So John Rocker was, I think, a pitcher for the Atlanta Braves. The 1999 World Series was the Yankees versus the Braves. Yankees shut out the Braves 4-0.
Shit.
So he definitely knew the right buttons to push there.
They still do this too now today. They did it back then. If you want to piss off a team, like Becky Lynch comes out and it's like she's in Chicago, she's going to talk about how the Blackhawks suck or whatever.
The Bulls suck,
team sucks.
Auspiciously did not mention the Bears because her husband likes the Chicago Bears. I thought that was pretty funny.
That's funny.
So
you want to piss off. I mean, I never hear it. I guess they're not in St. Louis enough, but if you showed up for a Monday Night Raw in St. Louis and started talking shit about the St. Louis Cardinals, you could still get enough heat probably to get yourself killed. I'm pretty sure. Like maybe not the Blues, but like you could get hurt.
Yeah, the going for the sports teams is an time honored classic tradition.
Yeah, for sure. So we had the Hardy Boyz versus the Dudley Boyz. Dude, yeah. I mean, I don't know how you feel. I'm not mad about tables, but like I don't share the affinity for tables that other wrestling fans do. Like I could take it or leave it. When I was young, it wasn't really a thing. Like every once in a while, someone gets thrown on the Spanish announce table or something.
Yeah.
If it breaks, it's like a huge spot. Just watching people go through tables for 10 minutes it doesn't bother me, but it's not that like, I don't know. It doesn't give me that spark that apparently the other people in the crowd feel.
Yeah, well, this was when I was young, so this is kind of my bread and butter, like the TLC matches I was a big fan of as a kid. So to see this and like its place in history, I thought was cool.
Yeah.
You know, it had a hot start. The tables came in really quick, which I think is kind of funny, but given how, you know, Bubba or Bully on Busted Open tends to get annoyed with all the furniture. But I will say that there was psychology in this match. Like the stakes were being raised. You know, there was a flow. It was getting more and more intense. Something that I liked about this match, it was like a small thing, was they set up the tables pretty quickly. And, you know, one team would try to drive someone else on the other team through a table, and the teammate, the tag team partner, would like move the table out of the way. Right. I thought that was kind of cool. You don't see a lot of tables matches where the point of the match is to drive people through tables. So to see that, I was like, oh, that's like logically sound given what the objective of the match is, you know?
Yeah, and I thought that was like good. Even last weekend when we were watching like MJF, you know, on a table, you know, you see like Mark Briscoe climb up and you're like, why doesn't he just fucking get off the table? Why are you acting like you're dead? And then he does. He just fucking moves. And it's like, you got to get people to like get off especially early in the match, like get off the fucking table, because you wouldn't just sit there and like kind of wiggle and position yourself, sort of like they do under the turnbuckle sometimes. Yeah. I like anything that seems like more real, but they were doing a lot of that. I mean, I thought it was interesting. So this match ends with a swanton bomb off the balcony or the top of the ramp onto Devon, which you know, it was Jeff doing the swanton onto Devon, which we kind of all knew. I mean, having watched all these guys enough times, I was like, yeah, it's going to end with Jeff doing the swanton, but like. JR, like it wasn't like named yet. JR kept calling it like
a senton,
a flying senton flip, maneuver. Like he doesn't know what it is, and I was like, is it that early on that you don't know what? Yeah, I'm not like a guy that knows the names of everything, but I know like what Jeff Hardy does. You know,
no, for sure, yeah, and that came after Bubba taking a big fall. I think he got hit with a chair in the head, and he took a fall and landed through 4 tables off that same place where Jeff jumped. I mean, short and sweet match, very fun, and obviously not as intense as like all of the forthcoming tables, ladders, and chairs matches that will come later in history. But this has its place in history. This was the first time that a tag team match had this stipulation, and it definitely ushered in an era of insanity for tag matches. So I enjoyed it.
It has this relevance. And, you know, I appreciate that here we are, you know, at the beginning of the Royal Rumble. We got a 3-minute match, and we got a 10-minute match. Like, they are just flying through this shit. It's not boring. It's like, it is all killer, no filler so far. So I like that. Oh, we didn't mention the video package at the beginning. The big, like, Triple H Cactus Jack, I think is what Mick Foley's going by at this point. Match is kind of what we're getting besides the Rumble. That's like the main event, and the whole like preface of that is, you know, Triple H is the heel. He's been sort of the bully, the dude that
the McMahon Helmsley era.
Yeah, he's with the McMahon, and he actually tried to get rid of Cactus Jack, and there was a boycott where all the other wrestlers were refusing to come to work if they didn't let Foley back in. So that's what we're waiting for later in the night. But in the meantime, we have all these really short, like quick, kind of fun matches.
What did Papa Meltzer give this one?
Papa Meltzer gave it 4.
Oh,
which
surprising.
I would be surprised if I didn't already know. I think also because it's a relevant match, being the first of its kind.
Doesn't strike me as a match he would like, because it's not like a New Japan 45-minute strong style thing.
Yeah, I wonder if because it harkened back to like an indie thing that was happening a few years prior at ECW. If he'd like to see that indie shit, because I know he I don't know. It seems like he's not real into the Disney side. He's more into like the underground shit.
Yeah,
but he really likes his work rate and all that stuff. But I don't know. I mean, it's hard for me to decipher what goes on in that man's brain, especially over the decades, right?
Because he's been degrading over time.
Yeah.
All right, so the next segment of this pay-per-view, probably the worst. It was the Miss Rumble 2000 contest. We had a judges panel of Sergeant Slaughter, Tony Garea, the Fabulous Moolah, Johnny V, and Freddie Blassie to judge this contest. Also, Andy Richter is a special judge, which I thought was hilarious. Like, what are you doing here, Andy?
What is he doing on the show he was on at the time? He
was on the Conan O'Brien show, so he was, just...
I know. What was he really doing on Conan? Now what is he doing on this?
Just sitting in the couch and cracking jokes. Yeah, I don't know. But so the contestants for this were Ivory, Terry, also known as Terry Runnels, Dustin Rhodes or Dustin Reynolds' ex-wife now, Jacqueline, BB, Luna Vachon, and the Cat.
I like Luna.
Luna was pretty mad. I think most of the women were pretty mad.
Yeah, Luna deserved better for sure. I'm sure all the women did, but Luna definitely. She's a worker.
So the contest was a swimsuit contest. Each of the women showed off their swimsuits one at a time. It was not great and pretty degrading. And then it got pretty weird / hilarious because Mae Young, at 77 years old, is that what you said she was?
77 at the time, yeah.
77 years old, comes out and takes her tits out for the crowd. It got censored.
Yeah, her puppies, as they referred to them about 15 times.
Yeah, so she takes those out and the crowd is horrified. The women are horrified. And Mark Henry comes in to cover her up. I guess this was when Mark Henry was doing that thing where Mae Young, he was like dating Mae Young and impregnated her and she gave birth to a hand. Did you ever see that?
Yeah, I mean, I know that Mark Henry impregnated Mae Young in storyline in her late 70s.
Yeah.
And, she...
Good on him, I guess. I mean, quite frankly, the whole segment was pretty shameful and embarrassing. And somehow Mae Young won.
Yeah, it was, just another reminder to me that wrestling has come a long way with women and the women's division. Like I said, now it's just as good, and you don't help. Like even boxing, like I don't watch a match and be like, oh, I watched this girls match or whatever. It's like just in all these sports, you just see like the best of the best, like amazing people doing amazing shit. And I'm sure a lot of these athletes were really great. I think Luna, certainly had more to offer. It's just because I remember seeing her wrestle before. But dude, yeah, like bringing up these athletes and it's literally having them all like bend over. Like there was one girl in saran wrap, there was one girl just like in a nude colored thong, and then you have an old lady topless, and they all just kind of bend over and take off the robe, and then that's it. And it's just like, dude, you really wasted like the time of like 10 athletes, and if you didn't, then you wasted the spot of 10 athletes that should have fucking been in there. You didn't have a Royal Rumble.
It was the Attitude Era. It was raunchy stuff. This was when Girls Gone Wild videos were being sold on television.
Right.
And it was just a different time. Not that I'm condoning it, because in hindsight, it's terrible. I'm sure a 12-year-old me was like, oh, boobs, yeah. But...
I mean, dude, I was watching this on my iPad in the... at the restaurant at Fat Sal's, waiting to have me an Impossible Burger. And, I got my headphones on, of course, because I'm not one of those assholes that, plays
talks
their
on
phone
speakerphone.
Full volume. Yeah. But, like, people are, like, walking all around me, and I have this big-ass iPad, like, and it's, like, what's on the screen is, like, fucking, like, a 77-year-old woman walking around topless while Jerry the King Lawler is, like, bumbling around next to all these, like, girls in thongs. And I'm like, I feel like a total fucking creep. Yeah. And then, I play it in my barber shop because I like to have, today. I like to have the show on so I can kind of just soak it in before the podcast. And, you know, of course, like some woman walks in with her kid and like what's on again is Mae Young.
Thing. Yeah.
The same thing. And I'm just like, dude, you guys are making me like embarrassed to be watching this shit. But yeah, do you want to guess what Meltzer gave this one? I'm just kidding. Meltzer didn't rate this one.
Yeah, this would probably be a dud if he did, I would assume. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe he's a perv.
And so for the third match, we got an Intercontinental Championship, which was Jericho versus Chyna versus Hardcore Holly. Yes, we actually have a woman in the men's match this time, so we got something interesting happening. Juxtaposition
to what we were just talking about. Like you'll have women just get naked for no reason, but then you'll have Chyna wrestle men.
Chyna was like the one, you know, enigma. You know, Chyna's music, it's so bad and like on the nose, and it's like a fake Pink song.
Don't treat me like a man or something like that, right?
Don't treat me like a woman. Don't treat me like a man. Don't treat me like you know me. Just treat me for who and what I am. It's just like so like someone's like, hey, look, she's like a woman that like, you know, fights the men. She's not like either and she's both. And Pink is on the radio.
Not one of Jim Johnston's best themes. We can say that much.
So bad. But I guess her and Jericho at the time were like kind of homies, right? But
they were co-holders of the belt somehow. I'm not sure.
No one knew who won. They probably both
pinned somebody at the same time or something.
I was gonna say, So they had to bust out another relatively short match. I was rooting for Chyna. The match wasn't like the best match of the night, but
it was not.
Jericho hit a lion salt and Chyna scored the pin. It's cool to see old Jericho. He was at some point in time, he was a pretty spry and amazing wrestler.
Charismatic. He was super over. The crowd loved him. This, I think, was probably pretty soon after he had come back to WWF, or maybe this was his first time being there because, you know, he was doing that whole Y2J thing.
Yeah, Y2J. That's
the Jerichoholics. That's I saw some of those signs in the crowd.
He's reinvented himself quite a few times, and he's done some cool shit. And like, you know, I think even today he's good at just being an obnoxious, you know, out of shape heel that you want to go away, but it's like he's good at doing that. So he's even good at being like, I guess that's just heat, but like he's good at getting the right kind of heat that's realistic enough.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, short match. And you know, the next match was for the tag team championships. It was the New Age Outlaws versus the Acolytes. And on paper, I was stoked for this one. I like Road Dogg and Billy Gunn. I like Bradshaw and Farouk. It had some hard-hitting moments, but honestly, this was kind of a letdown for me. It again was like sub 10 minutes. I think the referee got knocked out for a little while, and then X-Pac came to help his fellow DX cohorts, the New Age Outlaws. Billy Gunn hit Farouk with the Famouser, and then 1, 2, 3 Outlaws retain. I was like, that's it?
I mean, this was a 2-minute match. This thing didn't even hit 3. So it was gone before it was in. It was Meltzer at the 1-star rating. Yeah. I don't have that much to say about it. We'll see more from the New Age Outlaws in the Rumble that's coming up that same evening. The best part I wrote down, which was longer than the match, is, you know, the Road Dogg DX entrance, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, etc., etc. Then we get into match 5, the WWF Championship. It's a street fight between Triple H and Cactus Jack. I've already kind of gave you some of like the early video package that, you know, we're looking at Cactus Jack, Mick Foley as our baby face, and Triple H as the asshole who's with the McMahons, and he's tried everything to get rid of him. Cactus Jack had said previously, like, you think you're the game? I say I've played this game before and won, you know. So he's kind of all his characters at all one time. He's fucking great, and this is his turf, man. He's the king of the death match, Mick Foley, Cactus Jack, and Triple H is entering into his realm. So we're getting some fucking gnarly shit
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the hype video, the recap package, recounting the feud definitely got me stoked for the match. And you were very right. This was, it almost felt like all the matches before this were just like quick to get to this one so that it could be as long as it was. I think it was almost a half hour. And they got down to the weapons and the foreign objects quite quickly. Cactus took a pretty gnarly chair shot to the head, a few, honestly, very early on. They were fighting in the crowd. It was pretty violent, all things considered, but this was the period of time where this style of wrestling became more and more prevalent in the WWF.
I'd be surprised if it wasn't
Mm-hmm.
one of the bloodiest WWF matches that I've seen. There might be more lurking, but this thing is crazy.
Yeah, the didn't take long before the barbed wire wrapped 2x4 came out, which is a Mick Foley or Cactus Jack special. Foley got hit with it a couple of times, like in the chest and in the back, and then the ref took it away. And I'm not sure if you noticed this. He gave it to the Spanish announce table, and then
he did it.
Well, yeah, and I'll tell you why. I think they swapped it out for one that was not real barbed wire, because right after that, Foley hits Triple H in the head like several times with it. And obviously, if it's real barbed wire, like there's a chance you could poke somebody's eye. So I would have to imagine they did a little switcheroo.
Yeah.
Triple H did start bleeding, but obviously he bladed himself. He didn't do it the hard way with the barbed wire.
Right.
But yeah, this was a violent spectacle for sure. It was on par with the types of matches that we see in AEW nowadays, in terms of the blood and the crazy spots. And Triple H got some handcuffs. He handcuffed Cactus Jack's arm or hands behind his back. And there was a pretty funny moment where Cactus is still handcuffed. Triple H grabs the steel steps and he's getting ready to hit Foley. And Foley does a drop toe hold. So Triple H drops the steps and then smacks his head into the steps.
Yeah, dude, Foley was fighting back pretty hard with the handcuffs on behind his back. I hate handcuff spots because I feel like, how do they get out? They always get out somewhere. In this scenario, they managed to have a cop come out at least, which was I think is a good out.
Sure.
Usually in AEW, WWE nowadays,
they break it or whatever. Yeah.
Somehow they managed to get out on their own. Yeah, and it's like, well, if that was true, then all kinds of criminals would just flip out and get out in the back of the cop car.
Right. If it was that easy, everyone would do it.
But even when the cop had it, I was like, is that the same key? Because I think you got to have a key unique to the handcuffs that you have. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I just never like the process of how they get away. Like my brain, it takes me, yeah. But they did. They got him out. And the ramp, by the way, on this Royal Rumble pay-per-view was short. And it was kind of a nod to New York City where they were. It was very
had bricks on the side. And
yeah, there was even crumbled bricks on the edges where they were walking in. Yeah, it was kind of that Ninja Turtles, from the gutters of New York City, the spray paint, graffiti, bricks, trash can lids type of thing.
I also noticed, you probably saw it as well. They did some moves on the announce tables and neither of the announce tables broke. Foley did a pile driver to Triple H on the Spanish announce table. That thing didn't move at all. I was like, oh God.
Yeah.
Painful. And how else can you ratchet up the intensity of a street fight with Cactus Jack without the thumbtacks? Right. And I actually looked it up because I was like, when's the first time they did thumbtacks? I think maybe one of the first times was the Hell in a Cell match that we watched with Mankind and Undertaker. But this match is remembered by most as being one of the most disturbing uses of thumbtacks because of the finish, which is Triple H hitting Cactus Jack with his finisher, pedigreeing him into the thumbtacks face first. And you can actually see there are thumbtacks in Cactus Jack's forehead that have lodged themselves in there.
Yeah.
When he's getting pinned. Crazy, man.
He doesn't do it once, though. He does it twice.
Yeah, no, well, he gave him a back body drop, I think, first, and the first pedigree was off the tacks. The second one was directly onto the tacks.
Right. It's crazy shit. But yes, Triple H retains. Foley does manage to come back and attack Triple H post match, which is kind of what he's known for. Like, you got to kill this guy. Like, he's gonna get back up over and over again. He's nuts. For a 26-minute, 51-second long match, I thought it was pretty incredible. I was happy to see. I mean, I know Mick Foley has a lot of great matches under his belt, but this.
And again, not to talk shit about Bret Hart, but like Triple H did exactly what he needed to do in that match. Sure, it wasn't like a technical spectacle like Bret Hart matches are, but I thought Triple H was perfect, flawless.
Yeah, I mean, he looks great. He's the bad guy. He takes all the damage. He bled buckets. You know, and yeah, there was no. I mean, I don't know. As far as like a death match goes, I'd say it was perfect.
Yeah, it was great. What did Dave think?
What do you want to guess on this one? I'm curious what you think. What you would guess?
Maybe like a 3.5.
Surprisingly, he went 4 3/4.
Oh, good for him.
He just couldn't fucking help himself to not.
Yeah, I couldn't give it 5.
I mean, you know,
it was good. I agree with that rating. I mean, it was very good.
Yeah, I think if you go back and you look at like for WWE and the style of match and who's in it and stuff, like
there weren't too many of those back then.
Yeah, I mean, and on this pay-per-view, I kind of give Meltzer credit for having the foresight, because you don't really know like what kind of legends you're dealing with and like what kind of iconic moments, like which ones will ripple through time and space to like influence things 20 years later, 30 years later, and like it seems like he does know the important matches when they happened, at least back then. I don't think he knows anymore, but
yeah.
So our 6th event of the evening and final event of the evening is the 30-man Royal Rumble match. Royal Rumble, of course, I'm sure anyone listening to this already knows, but all the all the wrestlers enter in intervals of a couple minutes until all 30 of them have entered the match. In the meantime, you can be eliminated by being tossed over the top rope, both feet hitting the ground. It's usually you only got like 5 or 6 guys in the ring at a time, and you kind of get like everyone's like little move, little hot moment entrance. It's a nice way to get all the nostalgia of all these guys in the era. I mean, yeah, it sucks that Stone Cold Steve Austin was injured at this time, because that's like a glaring sort of void in this pay-per-view. But we haven't covered a Royal Rumble before. I mean, how do we go through 30 fucking entries and everything that's happened? I don't know.
I don't think we should. I mean, yeah, there's too many people to list. I guess we could just talk about the things that stood out. The first thing that I laughed about was Grandmaster Sexay, Brian Christopher, who is Jerry the King Lawler's son.
Right.
He was one of the early entrants.
The Burger Prince. I guess that makes them.
I could not stop laughing at how JR was saying Grandmaster Sexay.
Yes, I was like, okay, it's Sexay. Yeah, I was like, is that? I have to spell it like that? I guess, was he spelling it like that? With like an AY?
Sexay. Yeah, that's exactly how they spelled it. So that made me laugh. I thought it was really random that our old pals Kaientai, Funaki, and Takamichinoku just kept showing up throughout the match randomly, even though they weren't in the match, to like attack people, and then would proceed to get thrown over the top rope like within 10 seconds of getting into the ring, and they did it like 3 times.
Yeah, they were like a thread, which I appreciate. I love how they set up like this Royal Rumble. Like, I like that there was like a weird little thread with Ty and Kai, but Jerry the King Lawler was super fucking. I love Jerry, but like, man, some of this stuff doesn't age well, bro. Like, it was. His joke was that he was like, the Chinese are back. And he kept saying it over and over again. And then
said they're Japanese.
And then, and then the other announcer, who was on this?
Jim Ross, JR.
Jim Ross would be like, they're Japanese. And he'd be like, oh, the Chinese are back, Japanese. And it was just like, dude, like, that's weird. But I mean, it's funny that it was stupid, but it was. Yeah,
I mean, that's what Jerry did
now. Be like, oh, the joke is, haha, they're all the same. Like, fuck off, dude. But yeah, it was thing of the time, how things have changed. I'm always interested in seeing all that. The too cool, too sexy routine with Rikishi.
Oh my god!
So they stop in the middle. I think Rikishi might have been in cahoots with those two at some point.
The Too Cool was the group of the three of them.
Okay,
it was Grandmaster Sexay, Scotty Too Hottie, and Rikishi.
Yeah. Okay, so when they were all three in there and they eliminated everyone else up to that point,
had a little dance party.
Scotty and Sexay on both sides of Rikishi, who's a very large Samoan in a thong, and his huge dimply ass is just booty dancing with these two buff white boys.
Crowd loved it.
It was. I mean, I think that it's good in a Royal Rumble when you have these moments, because a lot of a Royal Rumble is just kind of like guys in each corner sort of stomping and doing the punches, and it gets boring. But when you can actually have everyone present some bullshit, whether it's years prior to that, as the Honky Tonk Man will come out and do a whole fucking song, or someone bushes,
hit somebody with his guitar,
and then he's tossed over.
You got to break it up a little bit, create some levity.
Yeah, it was cool. It was one of the moments. We also had a surprise entry by former WWF champion Bob Backlund, who was, back in the 70s, the all-star.
And he didn't get shit on like the last time we saw him. I don't remember what it was. I think it was in the 93 WrestleMania maybe that we watched, where he just got absolutely destroyed by a razor or something. But he actually was around in this for a few minutes. He helped eliminate Rikishi.
We watched that really terrible WrestleMania 9 or something from Las Vegas. Yeah, where they just washed his ass, and he's he's like a lunatic old man, but he was 40. But he was really washed up. But in this, he had a moment. He has got no muscles anymore. He's just kind of showing up. And
I think they said he was running for governor or something of Connecticut. I don't know if that was real. Yeah,
he probably was, dude. I don't know if it was real or not, but it was good to see Bob in there. You get Jericho, you get Edge, you get Boss Man, Bulldog, Chyna, Kane, Big Show, The Rock. They're all there. I mean, I don't know what to say about it all.
Outlaws and Acolytes also came back. So the one interesting thing, like you said, is they did have threads from earlier in the show. So Jericho came out, then Chyna came out, and Chyna went after Jericho and eliminated Jericho because she was pissed off at him.
She did, yeah.
And New Age Outlaws came out and Acolytes came out, and they obviously went after one another. So that was kind of interesting. Like you said, you just need a little something extra in a Royal Rumble to make it more than just a bunch of guys punching each other in the corner.
Right.
And I felt like on the whole, this did that. And it, not my favorite Royal Rumble, certainly, but it was fun. And obviously, once the biggest babyface in the company, The Rock, comes out, biggest pop of the night. He's the star of the moment. There's no denying that. Then it was okay, is Rock gonna win? Is Rock gonna survive?
He guaranteed he would.
He did. Yeah, earlier in the evening with a promo in the back.
Did you notice that at one point the New Age Outlaws and a member of DX, who we'd all seen previously in the night, were in there together, right? We got Road Dogg, we got Mr. Ass or Mr. Billy, whatever, Billy Gunn,
Mr. Ass,
Daddy Ass. I don't know but we got Ass, we got Road Dogg, and we got X-Pac, and they could have, there's only a couple monsters in there with them, like Kane.
Yeah, they could have teamed up and done something.
But instead, they started throwing each other out. They all fuck each other over. And I was like, dude. You guys could have done it.
Dissension in the ranks, man. I think Triple H had left by that point, had left DX. This was the second incarnation of DX. I don't even really, it's kind of hard to tell earlier in the night if DX were the heels or not. It kind of seemed like they weren't, but
it seemed like they were pretty cherished by the audience. God, I know we always say this about the Attitude Era, but the amount of signs in that fucking audience.
Yeah.
Crazy. Insane. Everyone has a sign. Yeah.
And let's see, the Big Show, that was a pivotal moment in the Rumble, because Big Show is a very large man and he starts eliminating a bunch of people, asserting his dominance. And the field starts to come down a little bit. I think it was like Kane and Big Show and Rock and somebody else, I can't remember, but starts whittling down, and eventually we get to the final two, Big Show and Rock, and we get a little David versus Goliath action going on. And ultimately the Rock manages to get Big Show over the top rope, and Rock wins the Rumble.
He does. Did you, in other notes during all this, there was a WWF New York bar club.
I did notice that.
They had
Yeah.
Linda McMahon being interviewed about the Royal Rumble. She fell flat. Like, she's just not a very charismatic person. But I was like, holy shit! Like, it's hard to find a bar where you can go. I know it's in a touristy part of New York and stuff, but it's hard to find a bar where you can go like get down with the fans and like watch pay-per-views. And they had one that was like devoted with merch and
right. It's
interviews.
a cool idea.
And it was like during that like TRL era where MTV had a spot in Times Square, and they would, show like rock stars and VJs in front of Times Square, and like WWE, like I guess you could probably go hang out there and watch the ball drop and go hang out there before and after these main events and see interviews and something like that's so cool. I guess it was only there from the year 2000 to the year 2002. WWE or WWF turned into WWE. They stopped calling it WWF World. They started calling it The World, and like sort of made it just like a nightclub. And then the Hard Rock Cafe quickly bought it and turned it into Hard Rock Cafe Times Square. I have no idea if that's still there, but I was really interesting, in that.
Yeah.
And
I wish that something like that existed nowadays, for sure. It'd be a fun place to go.
Yeah, and then also regarding The Rock's win, so The Rock, that was supposed to give him a shot at the world title for WrestleMania that year, but it was disputed that The Rock that he actually won. So Big Show eliminates The Rock, right? But they kind of both fall out, and The Rock comes back in, but Big Show doesn't, like all in a second. And they went back to the replay on the TV shows after this and showed that technically The Rock, while he's holding onto the ropes, his feet both hit, and then Big Show's feet both hit, and The Rock pulled himself back in. So there was a 4-way match at WrestleMania. Instead of The Rock getting his shot against Triple H, he had to do a elimination 4-way, which I guess is not the same as a fatal 4-way. You have to pin people out of the match. So it was Triple H, The Rock, Big Show, and Foley for some reason at WrestleMania. So, which I think is kind of cheap. The Royal Rumble guy should be the one that has the big match.
Yeah.
I like singles matches. So it's interesting to me that, his win was disputed later.
Yeah, I didn't know that, or didn't remember that. WrestleMania 2000 escapes my brain because it was WrestleMania 16. Yeah. I don't know why I don't remember that one, but I remember 17 and 18. Those were bangers.
All right, so the grapple grade, fast forward, play, rewind. Fast forward being boo, play being yay, rewind being double yay. This is your show, your pick, Aaron. I think I want to hear your take on it first, if you don't mind.
Sure. I will give this a play. I know it's kind of the coward's way out to just give it the mid grade, but I thought it was fun. As you said, most of the matches leading up to the World Championship match and the Rumble were very short, so it's kind of hard to get invested in them. But there were some fun ones. I enjoyed seeing people that I remembered from when I watched the most, when I was in my early teens. So yeah, I thought it was worth watching. I don't feel like it's destination viewing that you have to watch this Royal Rumble over any other one first, but I would say check it out if you want to. What say you? I'm gonna get
a little crazy here. I'm gonna go rewind on it. I feel like its historical significance plays into this rating for me. I think having the first, big like tables thing for WWF, I think having the introduction to Taz, I think making all those preliminary things fast and not boring. I think the Mick Foley match was great. I think the Royal Rumble was like clean and quick and interesting. I mean, it was an hour, but it didn't feel like it. So a lot of it is just that like I was entertained and not irritated, which is rare in wrestling.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna go with the rewind on this.
Cool.
I'm gonna, it's always a gamble. You're like, well, how will I feel later? But yeah, I learned a lot, and I thought I had a lot of fun. My biggest thing I can say is for this time, it's really disappointing to not get like Stone Cold, but like he's injured, and that happens in wrestling. So
yeah,
what can you do? All right. As always, we love to hear from you out there. If you are listening and there is anything you agree or disagree with about us and you want to voice your opinions on the air, you can call 626-657-SLAM. Pick up the phone. And you'll get our Google voice line. You'll be able to say whatever it is you want to say. We'll play it here on the air. Also, you want to cut a promo on us, good or bad, go ahead, feel free to call that number. You can also email us, grapplecitypod@gmail.com. Find us on X, TikTok, Twitter. We're at Grapple City Pod on all that shit too. This week, let's see. I got a message here on one of the platforms from Amy Lee in Evansville. She said her husband was wanting to send a question into Jim Cornette to get his opinion. She figured she could write in to get ours. So Sunday night before Raw in Evansville, she saw the Usos and Braun Breaker and a ref eating dinner together in public. Do you have any opinion on breaking kayfabe during active feuds? She says that she's a new fan and was told at one time they used to maintain the illusion behind the show, and back in the day, it was not allowed. I wrote her back already just because I thought it was an interesting conversation, but I told her we'd talk about it on the air. How do you feel about that one?
Yeah. Well, thank you for writing in. Always great to hear from the peeps. She's absolutely right that, prior to the curtain call, which I believe was in 1995 or 1996, the famous moment where at a house show, Shawn Michaels, Diesel, Razor Ramon, and Hunter Hearst Helmsley all embraced because Scott Hall, a.k.a. Razor Ramon, and Kevin Nash, a.k.a. Diesel, were leaving WWF to go to WCW. That before that time, it's exactly what she said. You were not supposed to be out in public as a babyface with a heel or vice versa. They wanted to maintain the illusion that what was happening on their shows and at their events was real, that the animosity was real. I think it's probably safe to say that most people, even back then and before then, didn't necessarily think that it was real, but reminding the audience of the fact that it wasn't real would, make it more difficult to suspend one's disbelief. So that is the way it used to be. It's not really the way that it is now, certainly with shows like WWE Unreal that, shows you that everything is not real. As for my opinion, I think it's okay. Maybe if I was the person that saw them, I would think differently, but they're human beings just like we are. It's silly to think that people who work this closely together this often would not be friends. Like, take Punk and Seth, for example. I don't think that Punk and Seth actually hate each other. In fact, I'm pretty sure that there are married couples hanging out and having a great time with each other, and that's great. I also think that I don't need to be reminded of that because it does make it, I certainly don't need to see it on TV that they're friends. But if I were to see them in public and they were hanging out, I would be okay with that, just because to me, the product, what we see on television, what we see on social media, what they tweet at each other, what they post about each other, that is different than them just living their lives. So for me, it's fine. I could see how people would be upset by it. What did you think?
Yeah, I think, first of all, back, when we watch Dark Side of the Ring, TV shows like that are, more documentary about the old days, they traveled in separate cars. Like you have to get like 4 guys in a, you know, in a station wagon or whatever, like 4 like 300-pound dudes. And like, it doesn't, if you're a heel, you got to be in a heel car. If you're a babyface, you got to be in the babyface car. I'm pretty sure there were 2 locker rooms, the heel locker room, the babyface locker room. It sounds like nowadays, you know, either you're on the indies and there's no locker rooms, you're in an alley, or there's like maybe the guys in the girls locker room. But it's like, yeah, it was very like separate, and it kind of harkens back or holds the tradition of like the Carney days of trying to fool people and make them believe this is real and suspend disbelief. And, you know, I love all that shit. And I wish even with everything that's already happened, that they would still just have dudes that will not fucking admit it. I think, you know, that sort of like Andy Kaufman type of humor where you just, yeah, maybe it's a fucking joke, dude, but you're not going to catch me laughing. Like, and I'm just going to get more and more weird. The more you try to break me on this. Like, I wish that they would hold strong. I wish that they wouldn't talk about Unreal during their TV shows. It's fine if you have a documentary style thing afterwards, preferably about way before, not about like current stuff. But like, that is not what's happening. Like, I wish it was, because I want to play make believe. Like, this is you know, escapism for me. You know, this is my comic book. This is my, you know, whatever, like cosplay, Comic-Con, whatever the fuck. Like, I want to believe it so much. I love that it's not like other entertainment. I love that it's weird, that it's quirky, that it's rooted in like some old American traditions, like bullshitty stuff. Like, I love that. But like, they're not trying to do that shit at all. They're trying to be like, look, this is a TV show. These are characters. These are actors. So, I mean,
performers.
You know, I mean, that's really cool though, Amy, that you saw the Usos and those folks. Who else was there? Braun Breaker. At, you know, in public. That's awesome. You know, it's always cool to see these people in the wild. I don't go bother them personally if I do see someone, but it's exciting to run into people. And like, I don't know, man. I wish I feel you. I wish it would be like that way, but it's like way long gone. Like, there's no fucking way that we're going to get anybody kayfabing. You know, Dusty Rhodes back in the day, you know, if he broke his leg in the ring, you know, he'd go to the fucking drugstore with a fucking, you know, cane and a cast. Like, he would eat breakfast, his own kids, you know, shit like that.
That stuff makes sense. And like, you know, Seth Rollins did that with his fake knee injury a few months ago. And I thought that was perfect and spectacular. Yeah. So I think that there's a time and a place for it. It's definitely a lot less common nowadays. And for me, I just kind of accept the fact that I'm watching a show. It is, you know, athletic entertainment. It is a physical soap opera to me. So like, when I'm watching it, I'm in it. I can separate myself from the extra shit, but I totally understand. There's a time and a place for kayfabe to still be in use. It's certainly not in use as much as it used to be, but it can still work.
If I was a wrestler, the podcast interviews and that shit, they would not be shoot interviews. Like, I would be as real and down to earth as I can, but like,
still be your character.
Anytime someone said something about being fake, it would be like, I wouldn't address it directly, but I would very much stay in the character anytime I was public, you know. But I don't know. Somebody will come around and do that shit again. Like, I mean,
MJF kind of does it. He doesn't do it as much anymore, but
he's pretty good at it.
He's pretty good at it. Yeah.
It's like method acting, right? Like, I mean, some of those guys it's fucking weird, but I appreciate it. Yeah. Oh, wait, we got a voicemail here. Somebody did call 626-657-SLAM. Let's see who it was and what they had to say.
Hey, what's up, Grapple City gentlemen? This is Brian from ReviewTheWorld.com, Hamilton, Ohio. Giving a quick call. I'm really digging the show. You guys actually found me. I didn't find you. One of you left a comment on a Twitter post about the Hare Arena in Dayton, Ohio, where I was at the age of 16 attending Heatwave 98. That was a wild night.
Nice.
And following on the footsteps of that, I want to pitch to you guys another event that I was at live. This would be the King of the Ring 2002 in Columbus, Ohio. It's actually kind of an interesting show on paper. You know, within the WWE, things were changing a lot at that time. So I mean, this card, just to give a few highlights, you got Brock Lesnar being crowned King of the Ring, but there's some really interesting matchups. Hulk Hogan versus Kurt Angle, and Hulk Hogan taps clean in the middle of the ring. That's maybe the only time that's ever happened in his entire illustrious career. You've got Eddie Guerrero versus Ric Flair. There's a really good cruiserweight match with Jamie Noble in action. A lot of great guys on there. Chris Jericho, Rob Van Dam. The main event, is The Undertaker and Triple H, and it says that it's 23 minutes on Wikipedia. However, it feels like 55 minutes at least. So I apologize in advance if you do happen to tackle this show, because that main event is a chore and a half. But no, it's an interesting show. I'd love to hear you guys discuss it. Again, I'm enjoying the show a lot. Your guys' banter, your energy, the audio sounds good. It's fun to hear these shows looked at from a fresh perspective. And so keep up the good work, guys. I am now subscribed, and I'll be tuning in. Thanks so much, man. Have a great one.
Thanks, Brian. You know, I went to reviewtheworld.com, his website. It's pretty funny. He reviews novelty junk food, like guacamole flavored Doritos and shit, like weird shit like that. You know, like I'm a big fan of sort of like random novelty stuff. Like I'm really into Oreos, and you know, like Post Malone had some of the best Oreos I've ever had, where it's like one white cookie, one black cookie, and like a caramel swirl, and then that goes away. And then, you know, like, I like the birthday cake Oreos with the sprinkles that I have right now in my kitchen. So I think that's like the kind of vein of things he's talking about. But King of the Ring 2002, I have a list of things people have recommended to us. That sounds awesome, minus the main event, like you said. Even Eddie Guerrero versus Ric Flair, I'm like sold at that. You know,
that's interesting. Don't remember that at all.
Yeah, and like Hulk Hogan winning or losing clean, interested in that. Yeah, right. I put this on the list. I have a little list of things that people recommend, and I think, but like I know, like, for those of you who don't know, like Aaron and I trade off on whose call it is for what we're watching in the next episode. And Aaron's a little more like goes with the feeling of the week or whatever he's feeling at the moment. I tend to try real hard to like go to like this day in history, you know, like go back to like the same month, like timely shit. So if Aaron doesn't pick it before I do, you know, I'll do it in June. But if he wants to do it sooner, like, I'm totally down. But it's on my list for June if Aaron doesn't go for it faster.
So what are we doing next week?
Let's see. So next week, good question. Okay, so by the time this airs, we will be in October. It's the most wonderful time of the year, Halloween time. I really need a Halloween Havoc. I don't think we've done a Halloween Havoc yet, right?
I did. No, we did. We did the one that I went to as a kid.
Oh, shit. We did that one. All right. Well, we're going to do Halloween Havoc again. I am going for, I don't think it's going to be the greatest one we've ever watched, but I want it to be like I want it to be the weirdest one we've watched. So Halloween Havoc 1991. Have you seen it? No.
I have not seen it. No.
Halloween Havoc 1991 WCW Chamber of Horrors. And it opens with, of all gimmick matches, something I've never seen, an electric chair match where Abdullah the Butcher gets executed via electric chair live on pay-per-view, obviously in story. That is so stupid that I have to watch it.
Yeah.
I love early WCW, so, you know, I'm sure this is like a stain on that era for me, but I really still want to see it. I hear that the crowd is confused and like Cactus Jack is flipping the switches of the electric chair and that the contraption doesn't really work. And then, I just want to see it. So for in celebration of Halloween, we're going weird WCW, Halloween Havoc 1991 Chamber of Horrors.
Love it.
Cool. Well, that is all the time we have left for today. Thank you all for listening. Don't forget to like, rate, review, write in, tell us what's up. Call that hotline 626-657-SLAM. Oh, hey, and if you are in or around the Chicago area, I will be performing live at the Sleeping Village with Typesetter on October 10th. Coming up really quick. come see me in Chicago. We can hang out at the merch table and talk about wrestling after I perform. I might even sing my song about Ric Flair if I am getting, the vibes, the right vibes.
The wrestling vibes, yeah.
Sometimes I throw people off when I start singing about wrestlers at an indie rock show, but we will see you all soon. We might even start doing this a little more often if everything goes as planned.
Catch you in the cheap seats.